is Rita. I'm representing the shop and internet portal called Cardition.ru. Can you please tell me about yourself a bit?
Well, my name is Boris Uайлд. I come from Paris, France, and so I'm here for the first time in Moscow, in Russia, in fact. Yeah, and so I'm a magician for the last. Well, you know what? We're in 2015. And I started magic in '85, so that's exactly 30 years.
Oh wow, that's very impressive.
And profession since '98, so it'll be 17 years. Yes.
Okay. So how did your fascination with magic tricks start?
Well, it's usually a simple thing. That's what happened to me also in 1985. A friend of my father came home at night for dinner, and he was an amateur magician, and my father said, "Oh, can you bring a couple of close-up tricks to show to Boris? He might be interested. I think he might like that." And so after dinner, he just showed me close-up magic. And it was a time, you were not born, but it was a time in '85 where close-up magic was not as developed as today. So it was more about stage magic. So for me, magic was, on stage, like boxes and glitter and whatever. But I would say raw magic run under my nose. And for me, it was a shock. It was like, oh, okay, I can see magic as close as that, and I like that. And it was a time I was, of course, still at school at that time, and I was kind of young, and I was just trying to find something to do. Maybe I would do fencing. I tried. Most kids would do soccer or whatever. I'm trying to find something to do after school.
So it was a hobby.
So basically, my friends say, well, we meet some French magician. We meet every week in this little thing, a little gathering. So if you want to come join and see, and we can see how you like it. And it was just like, immediately, I would say. It was just like, I became addicted to magic immediately. So it was exactly, I'm happy I found the thing I wanted to do at that time, exactly.
Okay, so how did you develop? You learned with books, with videos, what was it?
Well, once again, it was a time with no internet.
Okay, yeah.
and no DVDs.
Yeah.
So basically
Maybe
we had like
for the better.
old tapes, like VHS.
Yeah.
So that I started with this, but there were not so many in French at that time. And so that's why I immediately turned to all the American videos and like the very first videos. And books, of course. And it was hard because I was still young, my English was not so good. And so but my teacher in magic and all my friends say, well, if you can learn English, if you can read English or watch English videos, then you will be able to do things that other people who don't know about English will not do. So it was not easy, but I do it. So I was good at English at school just because I wanted to read.
It's a good incentive, you see.
Yeah. It was a good motivation.
Yeah, it's true.
And so I learned basically, yes, like everyone at that time, mostly books and a few videos, yes.
Okay, can you name, if there is one, your idol?
Oh, my idol?
Yeah.
In magic, I mean today,
yeah.
Or like...
I mean today or before that.
Well, it's hard to find one idol, but I think...
I guess in one genre, if it's easier for you.
Well, in a way, I would say, I know it will sound very cliche, but because it's an obvious choice. But what David Copperfield brought to magic is unique, because suddenly he came on stage with jeans and sweater, and then he started to build storyline, and he was, something who really developed emotion in his performances, whether it's illusion or whether it's a simple card trick like the Grandpa's Aces that he's doing on stage. It's a beautiful moment of emotion, talking about his grandfather and the trick he was doing, and to music. And my Fusamak, for instance, I know, the Kisak would have never been the same without this inspiration from Copperfield, because yes, he has really renewed the genre, and he has really developed something that magicians were not doing before. So we should be really grateful to him.
Yeah, that is true. Which leads me to another question. In case of starting somewhere for young people, for young magicians, should they look more for, let's say, technique or more into artistic genres? because you're amazing on stage. That's obviously. Did you go to, I don't know, to special acting classes, or you naturally developed your acting, charisma, everything like that?
I don't know if I have all these things, but
you have.
Thank you. But well, I think technique is, for me, it's important. You need to master technique, and that's what I always say to youngsters in magic. It's like music. Okay, if you want to be a great magician, first you need to learn the notes and everything.
Oh,
so of course you have to do that, and we all do that. But at some point, I think you need to quit the technical aspects of magic and just to focus on something more. And if you see, once again, great names in magic today. Yes, there are some great manipulators, but most of the great names are not mostly known for being very technical. And they're known because they have a character, they have a personality, they have charisma, as you say. And this is something I always try to say to people, and they say, well, if you can try to work on that thing, do it. That's what I did also, because I tried to build a character. And my character has really evolved with time, especially when traveling. So after FISM, when I won the prize for car magic, then after I get the chance to see the world, and then my style changed, because I was not a French guy performing in France. I was a French guy performing abroad. And of course, I could play a bit with all the cliches about the French, about everything, what people think about French, about French guys, etc. And I could play with this a little bit, and then I became, oh yeah, the French guy with the kisses, and like a romantic and poetic and everything. And so I try to build this image, which is like quite close to me, in fact. At the same time, it was not too hard, so that's why the acting classes were not too difficult. But yeah, at the same time, it's important to develop your own character, because people they book an act, but they book you first. They want to see you. That's what is the most important. So you can have a great act, but if your charisma, or if you don't have any presence on stage, you're completely transparent, it will not fit. So yes, this is really important. Create a character and atmosphere. So some people, when they say your name, they're like, they can feel something, or they can say, oh yes, or it can relate to something. Like one of my heroes is Tina Leonard. She's one of my heroes, one of the best, most beautiful musical acts in the world. And so, and it's obvious when we talk about it. We say Tina Leonard, and we see her hugging, the broomstick. Or we say, oh no, the cleaning lady. Oh, yeah, Tina. And we're like, oh. And so that's something I really try to do also, when especially talking about me or the acts. It's like, the kid's like, oh yeah, we should see a smile, we should see a little sparkle in the eyes when we just say the name, or we just say that. If you can manage to do that, it's perfect. I mean, whether you're technical or not, we don't care. It's just, we do show business, and we do performances. So what is the most important? The performance. How it looks like, how is the reaction. Yesterday night, it was amazing. So, and that's why we're all doing this activity, this job. I would say a job, but yeah, it's not only a job.
That's true. Again, the question for our beginners in the world of magic. You use some tricks, obviously, with marked deck. But let's say, what would you advise them to do? To use this more like some special cards, or to rely more on the sleight of hand and on dexterity? What should be developed more if you're beginning?
So if I wanted to answer you what I think, and if we don't talk about beginners, I would say both and combine them. Okay. That's what I do. Yeah.
Yeah. But,
so,
but obviously you're.
Obviously, yes. I remember there was a guy who was a very good manipulator, and at some point he switched the deck for an electric deck, with all the threads inside. So he was doing some really cool manipulation, and at some point he switched the deck secretly, and he get this electric deck. And he was doing this crazy cascade and everything, and at the end was in the hat. And everybody was like, ooh, because for the last 5 minutes he was doing crazy thing with cards. So everybody thought he was doing the real thing, but it was a gimmick deck. So combination is always the best. You can get a gimmick, and you can get sleight of hand, you put them all together, and then nobody knows if it's manipulation, or if it's just a special thing, whatever. And then it makes the trick, of course, much higher in terms of impact, of course. For beginners, I would say, of course, learn the technique, which is very important, but make sure that you don't focus only on that. And now, lots of people are talking about the YouTube generation of magic. Yes. So, and some are amazing. Some others are really self-centered because they're YouTube, so they just work for their webcam and they work for them most of the time.
And they don't see the audience.
And they put the stuff on the internet, and that's it. So yeah, okay, why not? But you see them, and you just see them not performing for people, as you say, and this is the most important. You need to be open to the audience. If you're not open to the audience, it will never work. I mean, why people would care for you if you don't care for them? If you just see the top of your head when you perform, and you just seem to enjoy yourself, but you're not drawn to the other ones. So that's something. That's the best advice I could say. I say, okay, yeah, sure, technique is important, but make sure that you also offer to the audience what they care about and what they want to see also. Okay, you can be different. You can be a little bit singular, like a bit. Not like the other ones, because I don't want to do that because all the other ones do that. That's a very good point. Be different, but still open to the audience. Otherwise, if they don't care about you, if you're different, then they would book you because nobody else does it, and because if they want it, there is no one else they can talk to. It's up to you. So I realized that when I went to Australia for the first time, I performed my act. It's less than 7 minutes. So I did 27 hours of flight to Australia and 27 hours back. That's 54 hours to do 7 minutes. And I realized this is crazy. why would I do that? And why would they book me to do that and pay the flight and everything for 7 minutes?
Because it's unique.
Because it's unique.
And it's amazing.
And on the way back home, 27 hours by yourself, you have lots of time to think about it. And you're like, oh God, why would they do that? And that's exactly what was in my mind. I was like, because no one else does it. Otherwise, they would have booked someone closer, it would be cheaper for the flight and everything. So I said, oh yes, yeah, it's because it's different, and different is the key. And that was, the slogan for Apple for a long time, think different. And if you think different, you get to, of course, different results. And of course, people will be like, oh, okay, I like the way you think, or just, we should hire him and not the other one. So this is the most important. So yeah, of course, it's very tempting, especially when you're young, when you see an act and you like it, it's very tempting, not to copy it, but just to take things and put it and do it in a way.
Imitate.
Yeah, imitate. We all imitate in a way, not copy, but imitate sometimes. But still, you can get inspiration from lots of acts, and not only about magic acts. For me, my inspiration comes more from other things than magic. And this is another advice I can say. Look around, be curious, go to the movies, to plays, and go to see museums and stuff. And then you will, in the middle of somewhere, be like, oh, I can, and you write down and you have an idea. So be curious, be different, and emotion is also one thing which is important for me. It's just, if you can include emotion in your performance, people will care about. If they don't feel anything, it's like when you go to the movies. Sometimes you go out and you're like, okay, what do we eat now? Yeah, it was good. Well, that's it. Sometimes you just exit the movies, and for 10 minutes you're like, you're not in the real world. You're still in the movie.
Sometimes like, even more.
Yeah, and sometimes even more. You're right, and you say, oh, where did I? No, you go this way, but your car is parked the other way because you completely forgot. You're still in it because you were touched. And so it's true for movies. It's true when you finish reading a book. It's true when you see a beautiful art and you're like, you almost cry because it's so amazing, breathless. It should be the same for performance, especially magic performance, because we create miracles, we create things which are out of this world. So it's already, half of the way is already done. It's just like, now it's just a matter of putting everything together, so people are so touched that they're like, okay, I experienced something strong and experience unique.
It was the same for me yesterday.
Oh, thank you. So that was my goal, and that's how I built the act, of course. So, and it's true whether you're professional, but it's true also if you begin. Because if you begin, and we see sometime in competition, some acts are very promising. They're not technically perfect, etc., but we can already see under everything that there is something that might be strong for that particular performer because he tells a story. Telling a story is so important. So it's not about doing tricks. It's not about, look, I do a move, card change, and say, yeah. And how long did you spend on that? 2 months? What will you do with it? I don't know. The card changed. Say, yeah, you changed, but now do something. Just find a story. Find something to talk about. And so combining all these elements together works at every level in magic, whether you're a beginner or not. But if you can start from the beginning or thinking this way, then you will grow up much faster and much higher than the other ones, and you will make the difference to become a great performer.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rita.
It was a very nice interview. Thank you.
Thank you.
Your show was amazing.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, guys.